The next B&M Surf coaster is most likely already in the planning stages, and I think it's going to come a lot sooner than you're expecting. I think the next B&M Surf coaster to be built will be an even bigger success than the original one that opened in 2023, and I think we will start to see a ton of awesome parks build one of their own. There are even some shocking parks you wouldn't expect that I think could build the next B&M Surf coaster. So let's get right into it. The first B&M Surf coaster opened in spring of 2023 at Seaworld Orlando, and it was a massive success. Most people didn't expect this tame-looking coaster to be anything special, but boy were we wrong. I predicted this a while ago, but the Surf coaster's trains not only allow the ride experience to be a comfortable standing experience, but they also magnify any potential airtime this ride would have offered. Going over an airtime hill in these trains could give you a totally different experience than a regular roller coaster. The Surf coaster trains are able to move up and down, meaning that not only is the track causing the train to give you airtime, but your own seats also rise up during the airtime hill, making the experience like nothing else that exists on the planet. It's safe to say that we'll be seeing a ton of new Surf coasters open up around the world, and I think this new model from B&M may even potentially become their most successful model yet. I wonder what would happen if they put these trains on a hyper coaster layout. That would probably be an indescribable experience. There's really so much potential for the B&M Surf coaster, which is why I think some of the most surprising parks will shock us by being next in line to build their very own version of this incredible new ride model. The first park I think could build a new surf coaster is SeaWorld San Antonio. This park is due for a new coaster, with their last having opened in 2020. SeaWorld has been adding coasters at such a rapid rate that when a park has a 4-year coaster gap, they are almost guaranteed to be getting a new coaster. A B&M Surf coaster would be a great fit and a big success at this Texas park, and would only increase the competition between SeaWorld and Six Flags Fiesta Texas in the San Antonio area. This investment is really a no-brainer for the SeaWorld chain, especially after the success of Pipeline at SeaWorld Orlando. So my bet is on SeaWorld San Antonio opening a super fun surf coaster for the 2024 or 2025 season. I'm going to be staying in the US for the purpose of this video, since that's what I know best, and I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe. I have a ton of awesome new content ready to be released, and I know you're not going to want to miss out any of it. But anyway, the next park I want to talk about that could very likely get a surf coaster next is Kings Island. Kings Island is really obsessed with B&M. Kings Island is really obsessed with B&M. In the last bunch of years, they've opened a total of 3 coasters from B&M, and something tells me they don't plan on stopping just yet. Kings Island likely won't be getting a new coaster until 2025 or 2026, but I think there's a pretty high chance they'll get a B&M Surf coaster next. Canada's Wonderland might be a more likely Cedar Fair park to open a B&M Surf coaster. This park could really use another high-capacity coaster, and they could also use another awesome launch coaster. Canada's Wonderland is also sometimes the chain's test park for new types of coaster additions, which is why I could very well see them opening a B&M Surf coaster in 2025. Canada's Wonderland also has no problem adding a coaster from B&M, since their 3 most recent major coasters have all come from B&M. Kings Dominion is another Cedar Fair park I could see opening a B&M Surf coaster. This park always had an issue with adding new coasters from B&M, since they don't want to add the same ride as Busch Gardens Williamsburg down the road. But Busch Gardens doesn't yet have a surf coaster, and I could see Kings Dominion jumping on the surf train first for their next coaster, and maybe even becoming the official volcano replacement. Moving on from Cedar Fair, I think Six Flags Over Georgia is a park that could potentially open a B&M Surf coaster. Six Flags is pretty confusing nowadays, but if they do continue working with B&M on major projects, then I could see this as a great option for Over Georgia. Over Georgia needs a launch coaster really badly, and I don't think anyone would complain if this park got another high-capacity, reliable, thrilling roller coaster. Next up, I think Six Flags Great Adventure could be in the running for a B&M Surf coaster. This park needs a launch coaster that's a bit on the tamer side to contrast the fastest launch in the country, which they have on Kingda Ka. Many have said the park should go with Premier rides for the next coaster, but Great Adventure had a ton of issues with Premier rides back in the day when they built Batman and Robin the Chiller. That's why I think there's a very high chance we see Six Flags Great Adventure build a launched B&M Surf coaster from B&M as their next major coaster addition. Six Flags Great America is another Six Flags park I could see going with a surf coaster from B&M. This park got the first B&M coaster ever built in 1990 when they opened Iron Wolf. It would be pretty awesome to see this park come back with the reimagined second generation stand-up coaster for the next coaster, to somehow pay tribute to that iconic first B&M stand-up coaster from 1990. Moving to the Hershey chain, I think both Dollywood and Silver Dollar City could be in the running for a surf coaster from B&M, but my money's on Kentucky Kingdom. I feel like Dollywood and Silver Dollar City have other coaster models that could be a better fit at the park for their new next edition. Kentucky Kingdom, however, could really benefit from a high-capacity, reliable B&M coaster, and I think the incredibly unique surf model could do wonders for them. I would say the B&M Surf Coaster is one of the most likely options for Kentucky Kingdom's next coaster, which will most likely open in 2024 or 2025, replacing the unpopular and now defunct T3. Hershey Park is kind of my wild card in all of this. I think it is possible Hershey Park may want to get in on the surf coaster hype while it's still early and build one of the first ones in the country, which could lead them to open a surf coaster as their next coaster. I had this idea that they could theme the ride to surfing through chocolate and even create chocolate splash ponds and chocolate splash effects as the coaster goes through the awesome layout. If they built this new ride in Chocolate Town, then they'd be able to theme it to white chocolate and contrast the brown color of Candymonium, all while sticking to the Chocolate Town theme. Well, I think this is a very cute idea for the park to do for the next coaster. I don't think it's the most likely option. Hershey Park may not be ready to give this new ride model a shot just yet, and they might want to wait a few years before building a surf coaster. There are definitely other parks that could potentially build a surf coaster from B&M in the next couple of years, but I think these are all the major ones most likely to build a surf coaster as their next coaster. I wonder if we'll see any smaller unexpected parks jump onto this new incredible ride model over the next few years. I think the surf coaster will start to pick up in 2025, and I'm not sure if we'll even see any others built before then. 2024 is a major year for roller coasters, and so far has one of the most incredible lineups of new additions we've ever seen. We're still a while out from 2024 though, and there are likely a ton of new coasters that are still being kept secret. That's why I made a video going through all the major confirmed and rumored 2024 coasters. And you're not going to want to miss it, because once you find out all the crazy new additions that are in the works for 2024, I think you'll agree that 2024 is one of the best years for roller coasters in history.